think it's this one. Okay. I don't know what happened to my pretty picture though. There it is. Okay, so today we're talking about recreational spots around town to help keep you guys outside and active and moving. Ways to explore what we got around here. We've got a lot of awesome recreational opportunities here in our county where I think we take it for granted sometimes. So I want to pull those out. We were going to do this in combination with the conservation staff, but they are swamped this month. So you get to listen to me again, even though Heather was super hopeful we could do something with her. So hopefully in the future we can pull her in out at Lime Creek. Don't forget you can submit for 15 stride points after you listen to today's recording as well in the portal. So be sure to do that. So why are we learning about rec places? Obviously, natural movement and local movement is a great way to stay healthy. It doesn't have to be necessarily exercise based in our mind. It can be just, going out, enjoying your surroundings, and that will help your health as well. As a reminder, health-wise, at least 150 minutes of movement throughout your week is recommended. That's about 30 minutes for 5 days. We also stress, obviously, strength training is an important part of that regimen too. But it can look super easy. It can be a 10-minute walk a couple times throughout your day. It can be, going on a break with your coworker, or getting home and taking your family out for a stroll or whatever. It doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to be stressful. You don't always have to travel a long ways to get there. And we're going to try to look at some places today that hopefully you are aware of, but if not, we're going to point out. So I kind of broke it out into our bigger communities, Mason City and Clear Lake, and then we'll touch on some of the smaller towns, amenities, and then countywide things out across our county too, for things to take a look at. So this is fascinating. I think I'll share before I jump in. The county health rankings are put out used to be put out every year. And it kind of assessed, one of the categories it assessed was how accessible being active and engaging in physical activity was for a resident based on where they lived. And they based it on how close you live to green spaces like parks and trails, or how close you live to maybe recreational facilities like a fitness gym or a YMCA or something like that. And then whether or not you were rural or a town-based resident. And Sarasota County always scores in the 90th percentiles for those measurements, which is awesome. So it just goes to show we have a lot of recreational opportunity and built environment around us here in Sarasota County. And so I give a lot of props to our planners for our communities and our county, because hopefully they're the minds behind making sure that all happens as well as many other community partners as well too. So let's jump into Mason City. So Mason City has, I wrote this down. Let me jump back and see if I can find my notes for you, because I want to share this. Oh no, can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Yes, we can see you.
It lost the share screen. Okay. Well, whatever. We'll just keep going. I think it's like, I can't even remember. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Like 600 acres of green space around Mason City that they use for parks and other green space, which is just awesome. Clear Lake has almost 100 acres, I think 80 something, that they have for green space and parks. But again, just highlighting like how much. When I looked at and compared different counties across Iowa, the only county I could find with a higher green space rating was Story County, which is where Ames is. And if you think about having a college campus in town, and they've also got the Ada Hayden Park and lots of other things, I think number 2 is pretty cool. So if you go to the Mason City's website, they do a fabulous job of laying out all of their parks. Oh, here it is, 600 acres of land. A great job of listing out all their parks that they have. And obviously you can see the list just goes on and on. Many of these have great walking trails, so I hope you get out there. If any of you have been to the Tree Park in Georgia Hanford, that is an awesome place to walk. I loved walking there when I used to live in Mason City. If you're not familiar with it, it's on the south side of town, southeast side of town, kind of south of, what school is that? Lincoln Intermediate and Roosevelt. down there. There's even a rec softball complex and a park as well, but lots of unique tree species. So when you're on the paths, they have all the trees labeled and you can see what kind of tree species there are and stuff, but great paths out there. So check out the Arboretum if you haven't in Georgia Hanford. The newest trails I would say are the River City Riverwalk if you've been downtown. Super cool, especially at night. They've got some lit I don't know if you want to call them statues, lighting displays there too. That is neat. And obviously it goes along the river. There's a small playground there as well. So that's a newer amenity to Mason City. So definitely check that out on one of your walks and get down there. And if you're around in the evenings, it's a little even cooler. What else? Central Park obviously is just a nice little stroll, and you can intertwine the sculpture parade into that. Stop by the chamber, they've got the little map that you can grab, and then go on your route around the parade or around the sculpture parade. East Park obviously is fabulous. Lots of acres to East Park. Great trails along the river there. And then, of course, up and down through where the Prairie Playground is on the south side, and then the river on the other side. A great, I think, again, we take that for granted when we live here because, you know, it's always been here. I talked, a lot of realtors say like they make sure they take every resident that's moving into Mason City to that park because it's something very unique for a city like our size to have something so expansive in the middle of town. So don't forget about East Park. I talked about Georgia Hanford, obviously some good trails out there as well with the tree arboretum. And what else did I want to talk to you about? Lester Milligan, obviously great trails here as well. Out by Big Blue, if you're familiar with that part of town, to be active. And then Parker Woods has some good trails as well over by Hoover. But the most awesome new thing in our community is the Prairie Rock Trails. And these are also bike trails as well. Has anyone been to the new bike parks or tried any of the new Prairie Rock Trails? You can put it in the chat too, but they're even family friendly. You can take your small children there. They have a little kiddie area as well. Mason City website does a good job of kind of overviewing the trails. And I was gonna, I think I have a little, yes, video I was gonna play for you so you can see what it looks like. And where did I put it? Guess it doesn't want to play for me. There it is. Nope. Doesn't want to go. All right, I'm going to stop sharing so I can reshare with the sound if I find it. We'll see if I can find it from here. Well, it was a good video. They also have great trail maps on the Mason City website as well. Here you can see several different ways you can search by trails, and all managed by different kind of GIS systems and stuff like that. But this is a great way to explore our area too if you're into walking, hiking, or biking. They got pretty interactive trails you can search through. So this is one of Mason City, and you can search, if you go to this layers tab, you can search by maybe just the ones that are on the street, or if you like to actually go on bike paths, you can see all these blue ones are designated paths that are off the street, and quite a network throughout Mason City. And then they are all connected, but a lot of times through street shared paths as well. So check this map out too if you're someone who's really into where things are. You can see where all the parks are all those good things. So a really nice map to use on the city's website. I really want to find that video of the park. Maybe I can just Google it. Hold on for a second. Here it is. I think this is it. I don't know that it was Wayne's that did it, though. Let me see. Sorry, hopefully I didn't get too dizzy with that, but found it. So I think that's exciting, especially the new bike park and stuff. And all the trails connect in Mason City, so they were super thoughtful about how that's all working. And you can get lots of information, again, on the city's website, so definitely don't forget about that. You can also on those maps search by amenity. So if you're like, I'm looking for pickleball or something to do this summer, you can turn on their pickleball feature and you can see, oh, look, the courts are over in East Park. Or, my kids want to find those basketball parks in town. Here are the different parks they're located in: Monroe, Parker's Woods, Morgan Park, South Washington, Waterworks Park, and East Park, Kiwanis Park. So that's a cool feature too, to go through on the county or on the city's website as well. All right, let's jump to Clear Lake. Also quite a good selection of trails. There's Central Gardens, obviously. So if you're like more for a leisurely opportunity, head over there. Hopefully many of you have checked that out before. Trolley Trail, obviously, is what connects Mason City and Clear Lake. They're on the south side of towns. And extends into both of the communities, and is pretty well traveled. There is a lap around the lake that's marked. It's a shared trail with the general road, about 14 miles all the way around the lake. So I know we had some county employees who used to wake up early and go do that. So I don't know if you're still at it, but join them if you're into biking and they're still doing it. And then Sisters Prairie Trail is there between Clear Lake and Ventura as well. They have 2 ice skating rinks for the wintertime activities in Clear Lake. They just added this new one here you can see in the bottom in their Central Park, City Park, by the band shell there. And so that's really exciting. And then they have an older one at one of the other parks that's been there for many years. And they have 2 newer splash pads also for the summer activities. One's downtown and then one's over by their aquatic center. And then they have several parks with playgrounds as well. I was going to show you the Iowa bike map. This is for anywhere in Iowa that you can go look at, but it's neat. You can search by if it's a paved road or unpaved, if it's a shared use path, or it's meant for just pedestrian/bicycles and stuff like that. So you can see here in the Clear Lake, Mason City, Saragota County area where all our marked trails are. and what kind of surface they are and who they are meant for and stuff. So the Iowa bike map is also pretty interactive. And I think it might be an app, if I'm not mistaken, for your phone too. So it's easy to use while you're moving about on your bike out in the community. So don't forget about that tool. Out in our smaller communities, we still have lots of good recreational places. Rockwell has a huge park donated by the Ziedler family. So that's out on the east side of town. There's a nice walking trail out there at that park too, in the nature grasslands. Thornton has a pretty nice Frisbee golf course. If you guys aren't familiar with Ingebrigtsen Park, and you're into Frisbee golf, that's a nice course to check out. Obviously, we have the Greenbelt Trail along the Shell Rock River over by Norris Springs. Also a pretty unique landscape and a fun feature for us close by. Plymouth has a little school park, their old school park. They've done a lot of work to try to keep that alive in a community amenity. I believe there's a trail going around it. At one point, our health department had even helped plant some fruit bushes and trees around the path as well. So you might see some apples or blueberries or other fruits growing out there along the trail. Ventura's obviously got McIntosh Woods. And we already mentioned the Sisters Prairie Trail going between those communities as well. And then obviously County Conservation is managing a lot of these properties. And so some of the ones that you can see here are the Prairie Land Trail, Sisters Prairie Trail, Trolley Trail. Don't forget about going out to Lime Creek. I mean, look at this map of all their extensive trails too. Hopefully many of you don't forget about that amenity on the north side of town here. And then of course, all along the Shell Rock River as it moseys through the edge of our county as well. So lots of cool things. The county conservation has a neat interactive website as well, where you can see where all of their preserves and parks are. They've broken it down based on activity, which is awesome too. So, you know, if you're into horseback riding, you know which parks have those trails. If you're into just general hiking or walking or biking, they've got those listed out on what is most appropriate and then how to get there and stuff. So kudos to all of our communities in our county for keeping such good websites to help us stay informed about that stuff too. And with that, I was just going to give you a couple other options for indoor things because obviously we don't live down south where it's nice all of the time. But we have up here in the corner is the Nyack Rec Center. They have a membership program for seniors. So if that's something like you're looking for a low cost place to walk or utilize, I know they have a pretty big pickleball group that goes out there year round through their Lifelong Learners Program. You can get a pretty affordable membership, I believe, for access to the rec center. We've got two malls, Willowbrook and Southbridge, obviously, where you can get in and do walking. So I think that's a pretty nice amenity and probably not a lot of traffic either. The YMCA also has a walking track indoor and other great amenities. And then if you haven't been to the New Clear Lake Wellness and Athletics Center, this is that bottom picture. It's huge, expansive. It's really impressive. Try to check it out. I believe they do day passes as well as memberships. A really neat facility, especially if you live in that area and are looking for something during the winter, if you're not brave enough to get outside in the cold and stuff. But we do have, again, a lot of good opportunities, which is, I think, why we score so high. And sometimes we just need to be reminded about them and to check them out. So I wanted to turn it over to you guys before we wrap up and share maybe your favorite places. You can put it in the chat or you can come off mute where your favorite places are to stroll or hike or bike or whatever you do for recreational activity in and around North Iowa. So I will stop sharing and let you share. And I'll monitor the chat. Tree Park, 22nd Street Park, Georgia Hanford. Good.
We like We always like Lime Creek because there's a lot of variety out there. The wildflowers last week were beautiful. And then we like the disc golf course over at Ingelbritsen. So I'm glad you mentioned that. But then Rockwell also has a Lynn Grove. I don't know if you mentioned that one or not. I'm sorry.
Yep,
But
by the pool. Yeah, by the pool.
yeah, that has the very soft surface and everything. And it's a newer
Mm-hmm.
park. And so, yeah, we really like those. So,
Yep. Good thought. I didn't call that one out, so thank you. Kayaking down the rivers. Yes, Jody. Great idea. Quarry Lake Trail is a favorite for Leah. Monroe Park. I think Monroe Park also a great walking path. I don't think I called that one out, Steve, but good idea. Monroe Park, there on the north side town has a great walking path as well. Yeah. Definitely don't forget about Lime Creek. So many things out there. Harry Cook Nature Trails in Osage, and a natural spring in the spring park. Cool. Awesome. Well, my challenge to you all, as part of this, sorry, my computer's tipped. As part of this Lunch and Learn is to try to get out to some of these this next month. You'll notice in the August newsletter, there's some recommendations of places to go out and explore as well. So check them out, but use it as your excuse to get some exercise in, some movement into your day, but really just remember how lucky we are to have such a green space in North Iowa, when most of the time people just think it's a bunch of farmland, but there's some great uses out there that we've put to use. So I will let you go with that. We'll stop the recording. This will be posted on the YouTube channel for Stride. You can put your 15 points into the portal. Remember, the new URL is stride.cerrogordo.gov. So it changed it's been about 6 months now, but I know some people have still bookmarked the old one and then they're like, I can't get in, but remember that new URL. So with that, I will let you all go. Thanks for stopping in.